It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
Thank you very much and welcome to Science Bowl. This is the elementary school championship about to take place. Way back in September, we started with 40 elementary schools. We are down to our final 2, Bond Mill and Whitehall. And you know, we didn't know that we'd ever get here. Because of COVID-19 and the closure of schools, we ended before we were able to do this show. But thanks to Zoom and the wonderful people that are helping me today, Chuck Wolf and Catherine Francoeur, we are here and we've had our 2 semifinals and our final. We're making Science Bowl history. Never have we done this show without a studio audience, but all of our students today are at home. They'll be able to talk to each other, but they're home where it is safe. And boy, they're going to demonstrate their scientific literacy today as they have all season long. Today's teams, let's meet them right now. First, from Bond Mill Elementary School, we have Gathasia Gitau, Oliver Fritz, and Kelvin Stewart. And Whitehall's team, here they are, Grant Christensen, Estuardo Guzman, and Jaden Johnson. And now here are the categories of questions that we use here on the Science Bowl.
Okay, Mr. Z, here's today's categories. Green things, questions about plants and all things green and growing. Zoo parade, a Noah's Ark of questions about animals. Body systems, we'll see how much you know about yourself, about things like breathing and growing and digesting your food. Let's get physical. Questions that test your knowledge of physics and chemistry, earth science and space science. Then there's science potpourri. Here's a grab bag of science questions, everything from air pollution to the kitchen sink. And finally, Dateline Science. We'll ask you about science history and science in the news.
Here on the Science Bowl, we start our teams out with 50 points. In this particular version of the game, since we have no buzzers for our students, each team will receive 18 questions of equal difficulty, 3 in each of those categories you just saw: green things, zoo parade, body systems, let's get physical, science potpourri, and Dateline Science. We'll separate it into 2 halves, and we'll also talk to students about themselves and their schools. And before we start asking our first questions, we're honored today to have the president, the chairman of the school board here, Dr. Alvin Thornton, who has some words for all of today's players who indeed are all winners.
Dave, first of all, when you invited me to join you all, I was just excited about doing so. As you know, we are about to send out more than 8,000 of our young people who are graduating. And I wanted to be a part, I guess, of what I would consider to be the entry point for our elementary students. And that's the frame of mind that I bring to it. I just want to say to the young students who are much like my 3 grandchildren who are in the public schools at the elementary school level, how proud I and the Board of Education are of them and this early part of their academic experience. Focused, collegially competitive with each other. So thank you to each one of the young competitors in this event. All will win, notwithstanding the school that will ultimately be the final winner. All of the students will win. Let me also just thank the parents who are obviously so supportive of these young people. We appreciate what you do on behalf of our young children. So best wishes to all of the competitors. And we look forward to seeing you in a few years, when you also will be crossing the graduation stage as graduates of the Prince George's County Public School System.
Thank you, Dr. Thornton. He is so proud of all of you guys, as am I, as are your parents, as are all your teachers and your classmates. Very few students make it this far in the competition, and you deserve to be here, Bond Mill and Whitehall. All right, Bond Mill, are you guys ready? I know you're ready. You're going to do well. You're going to get your 18 questions, your first 9. Here we go. Green things for 5 points. The National Institute of Health in Gaithersburg has a clone of what kind of tree that inspired Isaac Newton hundreds of years ago in England when he was sitting beneath it?
Guys, We're gonna take a second to talk, guys. The apple tree, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's an apple tree.
All right, Gathesia.
An apple tree.
It is an apple tree. Remember, that's where he got the idea of gravity when it fell down. Good team playing there. 15 points. A little bit of alliteration here. Alliteration is when each of the words has the first letter the same. What S-initialed female flower part has a sticky surface?
Can we get a second to talk?
You can?
All right, Oliver.
Stigma?
Yeah, I think it is.
All right. Stigma.
It is indeed stigma. A stigma has a sticky surface. Alliteration. Nice work, guys. For 25 points in green things. When conditions are right for a seed to germinate, it is said to break out of this period of rest, the same term that describes the rest period of deciduous trees in the winter.
We're gonna take a second to talk. Do any of you guys know?
Dormant.
I think it's dormancy.
It is dormancy. Beautiful. Zoo Parade questions for you guys. Here we go. For 5 points. We're told it was toxic waste that caused the genes of those teenage Ninja Turtles to do this.
Mutate.
That's right. Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles. What a group they were. I like Raphael personally. For 15 points in Zoo Parade. To reduce drag, a bird known as an osprey carries fish with the head pointing forward in this C-initialed fin pointing backwards.
We're gonna take a second to talk.
You can.
C initialed fin.
Say that again, Gathesia.
It said C initialed fin.
Okay. I really don't know anything.
That's a tough question. It's called the caudal fin, C-A-U-D-A-L. A lot of people know about the pectoral fin, but the caudal fin is at the back. For 25 points, I have a visual for you. This is unusual. This is the skull of a creature called a narluga. A narluga is a hybrid of what two sea mammals? Narluga is spelled N-A-R-L-U-G-A. Narluga. What two creatures mated to produce that particular sea mammal?
I'm going to take a second to discuss.
Yes.
A narwhal and a beluga whale.
I believe that is it. I believe it is it.
Okay, our final answer is a narwhal and a beluga whale.
You got it. Both of them. Perfect. Body systems for you. 5 points in body systems. You're on a roll. You could describe many cartoon characters as megacephalic because they have what? Megacephalic.
They have big. No, let's take a second to talk. Megacephalic. I believe they have big eyes. Gathesia, what do you think?
Actually, that's true. That is in a lot of cartoon characters.
All right.
What do you think, Oliver?
I think that's right.
Okay. Big eyes.
Oh, you got the big part right. Cephalic means head. They have big heads. They have big heads. Nice try. All right, last 3 questions before we go to our interview here in, last 2 questions in body systems. Here's body systems for 15 points. If you go to the doctor's office for an examination, and if you're sitting down and your feet don't reach the floor, and if you're talking, and if the cuff is over your clothes and not your skin, this medical procedure isn't being done correctly.
We're going to take a second to discuss medical procedures not being done correctly. I believe it is. It's the one where they test your
Blood pressure?
No, not blood pressure. It's the one where they I press on your stomach and stuff. That one.
Yeah.
I believe it's a muscle procedure. I think that's what we're gonna have to go with because I really don't know the formal name.
I'm sorry you didn't go with Gathesia because it was blood pressure. The blood pressure cuff should be on your skin and not your clothes. I like how you guys are working it out. Here's your last question before we take our first interview break. For 25 points in body systems, unlike the Egyptians who thought human emotions were centered in the heart, Aristotle, the philosopher, thought they were centered in this hepatic organ?
We're gonna take a second to discuss.
Yes.
Hepatic, like hepatitis, that happens in the liver.
I think it's either the liver or the brain, but I really don't know what Aristotle thought. So
It said hepatic, like hepatitis, which happens in the liver. So I think we're gonna have to go with that.
yeah.
Alright.
All right, final answer.
Liver.
Good job. A liver it is. All right, Gathasia, your instincts were right on that one. Taking you to 150 points. Nice round there. All right, some people are tuning in for the first time. They don't know you guys. They don't know how wonderful you are. So let's find out about you and your schools. Let's start first with Kelvin. Kelvin, tell us about your school. It's a great place. Who's your principal there?
Miss Galladay.
Miss Galladay, that's right. And who's your sponsor?
Miss Lally, she helped us with a lot, and she's the one that's teaching us.
Absolutely. And she told me that she's retiring shortly, too. So she's going out in a blaze of glory no matter what happens here today. Bond Mill is just amazingly great. Tell me about any alternates you have on your team, if you can remember their names.
We have Brandon and Bilal as our two alternates.
Yes, and they'll be back in just a few moments here, and we'll give them some FaceTime because they deserve that. Tell me about yourself. What do you like to do in your spare time, like in all these long days we've got?
I really like to play video games. I like reading. I like watching TV, and I play with my dog sometimes.
Yeah, what kind of dog you have?
She's a border collie. We don't know what else she's mixed with.
What's your dog's name?
Cotton.
Cotton, I like that. Well, you're obviously a great reader. You know a lot of science. You got stage presence. I like how you work here with your teammates. Just an all-around excellent student, Kelvin. Let's go to Gathasia. And Gathasia, I like what you have behind you there. Young man is a Kenyan. And is that any particular place in Kenya? We like the cheetah.
It's not really a specific place. It's just a background that my dad installed.
I love it. As I told you before, I lived part of my life in Kenya, and that brings back good memories to me. Tell me a little bit about what you do in your spare time.
In my spare time, I like to play video games and study science.
Yeah, you obviously study science an awful lot because you know so much here. You do so well in this game. What do you hope to do someday?
I want to become a zoologist.
Zoologist. Any thought about going back to Kenya and working in one of those wonderful national parks?
That would be nice.
Certainly would be nice. Excellent player. And your last teammate there is Oliver. Oliver, what do you like about Science Bowl?
I like how fun, but it still allows you to learn.
Yeah, and obviously you have learned a lot by being on this show, and also you bring a lot to the program here. How do you know so much about science?
Both my parents are entomologists.
I think you told me that once before. And do you hope to follow in their footsteps? Are you a bug guy?
Yes.
I know how proud they must be of you. Do you have an insect collection of your own?
No.
No. Maybe that's frowned upon now. Putting sticks, pins in bugs and pins. That's probably old hat now. Good player. All right. We will be back in just a moment with the team from Whitehall and their first 9 questions, so don't go away. Good game ahead. Welcome back to this championship match here on the Science Bowl. Yes, we've got 6 outstanding young players here today as we end our 34th season here in Prince George's County Public Schools. This year for the first time ever on Zoom. Hope you're enjoying the program and hope you're playing along. All right, Whitehall, you guys ready for your questions?
Yep.
All right, first 9 coming up here. First category, the Green Things questions. Here's your 5-point question in Green Things. Outside Eleanor Roosevelt High School, there's a 30-foot-long replica of what most eaten of the world's grains. It's a gift from Roosevelt's sister school in Japan.
Rice.
Rice it is. Yes, indeed. Good way to start your round. For 15 points in Green Things, the complex relationship between coral polyps and their live-in algae partners in which both benefit is known as this kind of relationship.
Symbiotic.
Symbiotic or symbiosis, indeed. 25 points under Green Things. Kermit the Frog always says it ain't easy being green. But if you're one of these H-initialed plant specialists, it ain't easy making a blue rose or any other blue flower for that matter. For 25 points, what are these H-initialed plant specialists known as?
Herbologist?
Not herbologists, it is horticulturists. Horticulture is the branch of science. They're horticulturists. Good try. We move on to your your zoo parade questions. Zoo parade for 5 points. You know, it had to be tough on little Romulus and Remus when asked about their mother, since in Roman mythology they were both raised by what lupine animal known for its howling?
Wolf.
Wolf, yeah, they were raised by a wolf. For 15 points. Mustelids, mammals whose musk makes them stinky, like skunks and weasels and wolverines. Also includes this African mammal with a sweet tooth, a mammal that nobody messes with. It's also the nickname of NBA star Tyrann Mathieu.
Honey?
Cape buffalo?
Honey badger?
Yeah, honey badger.
What's your final answer?
Honey badger?
It is honey badger, indeed, yeah. Afraid of nothing, and sweet tooth was your clue there. Thank you very much, Eduardo. I think you clued in on that. Got yourself those 15 points. And for 25 points, I have a visual for you. You know, if you go down to Ocean City, one of the last things you want to see is a jellyfish. Luckily, in Ocean City, they don't have any of these, the box jellyfish, the world's deadliest. It is an interesting creature. It has an eye as sophisticated as our own, with a lens, a retina, and this structure that can refract light.
The
Prism?
no, it's not a prism. It's inside your eye, so it's probably like the
Optic nerve?
no. I remember this. It's like cornea, maybe.
The cornea?
Maybe it's that.
It is that. Nicely done, Eduardo. It is the cornea. Good answer. 3 more questions for you in this opening round. Here are your body system questions for 5 points. If you change your mind, it doesn't mean you got a new brain. But if you have a change of heart, what kind of organ have you just received as a plant transplant? What kind of C-initialed organ?
Circulatory?
No.
C-initialed, what kind of C-initialed organ is the heart?
Cardio? Cardio?
It's cardio, yeah.
We'll take that. Cardio or cardiac. We will take that. Yes, indeed. Body systems for 15 points. If an orthopedic surgeon tells a hockey player he needs to perform an arthroscopy, what body part will he most likely examine?
Bones?
Remember that
Maybe just like,
this is a hockey player we're talking about.
Teeth?
no, try his like wrist or something.
Be a little more specific for me. What kind of body part? You're in the neighborhood.
Hand.
We're looking for joint. Joint. Like an arthropod is a jointed animal. Arthroscopic refers to joint. So you were very close to that. All right, here's your body system question for 25 points. The famed sailor Francis Drake carried fruit, specifically citrus fruit, on his sea voyages to prevent his men from developing what disease that results from too little vitamin C?
It's in your bones. It's in your bones, guys. I think Grant said it once.
Osteoporosis?
Yeah, it's osteoporosis.
Now, in this case, too little vitamin C gives you scurvy. Scurvy was the right answer there. Good try, gentlemen. Good try. Now let's find out a little bit about you and your school, because a lot of people tuning in for this championship, they haven't seen our game all season. They don't know anything about you great guys. So let's find out about it. Grant, tell us a little bit. Give us the Grant story. How'd you end up on this team?
Well, my brother played science bowl when he was in 5th grade, so I thought it was going to be really fun. So I wanted to play science bowl also.
Yeah, well, you're doing your family tradition proud by being here. You're an excellent player. Do you have science in your future?
I don't think so. No.
What do you want to do someday then?
I don't know.
Yeah. No matter what you do in life, science is important. If you're scientifically literate, when you go to the doctor, if you do anything, if you build a house, whatever, you're going to be able to be informed and you're going to be able to do it a little bit better. Tell us about your school. Who's your principal?
It's Farmer.
Wonderful. And who's the coach of your team?
We have Miss Wine and Miss Chilcote.
Wonderful. And they have worked so hard to get you ready for today. And any alternates you got?
We have Stone, Jake, and Charlotte.
Wonderful. All right. Let's talk to your teammates here. Let's go over and talk to Estuardo. Estuardo, nice to have you with us today in your familiar, comfortable chair there. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What have you been doing with yourself all these long days of the shutdown?
Sometimes I go outside with my family and I built a ramp in my backyard. So I go on the ramp with my bicycle and sometimes my family would go on walks. And in the weekends I'd play video games.
That's nice. That sounds wonderful. I was reading in the paper today, not to put any ideas in your head, and your parents would not forgive me if I did, but I read about a young man who built a ramp like you did for his bike, and he's trying to get up enough speed to go over the swimming pool that's in the backyard, like Evel Knievel. Don't try that at home. Tell us a little bit about your future plans. What do you want to do?
I want to be a Navy SEAL one day.
Really? Why so?
Because I think I'm good at swimming and I like sea animals, so I want to go there sometimes.
That's a great ambition. America needs great patriots like that. Very macho. So you're going to be out there and you're going to be doing some things for the country, and I think that'll be terrific. Yeah, keep swimming. Keep swimming. Let's talk to your last competitor. Where is Jaden? Jaden, there you are. Are you sitting in your bedroom?
Yep.
Yeah. So what have you been up to? How have you been filling in all these hours?
Well, I kind of played video games and go outside and play basketball by myself.
Yeah. Now you were telling me before that you have a hoop in your backyard there, right?
Yeah, we just opened it today.
Cool. Would you like to be a professional basketball player?
Yes, I would.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite team?
The Sixers.
The Sixers, very good. All right. Well, let them know of your talent and your interest. Never too soon to start. You're a good player. All right. We will see more from that team in just a few moments, but when we come back from this break, you're going to see Bond Mill as they answer their second set of questions. More Science Bowl ahead. Don't go away. Welcome back, everyone, to this championship match here on Science Bowl. You saw Bond Mill in their first half, and they did extremely well. Now it's time for their second 9 questions. We're going to start with the Let's Get Physical category, gentlemen, and let's begin. Let's get physical for 5 points. The average temperature of our planet Earth is 60 degrees Fahrenheit. But without this, which is like a blanket here on Earth, the average would be close to 0 degrees Fahrenheit.
We need to take a moment to discuss.
Please do.
The atmosphere or the ozone layer?
No, because the ozone layer keeps it from warming up.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. The atmosphere. Our final answer is the atmosphere.
It is indeed. It traps the heat, and it does act like a blanket. Well thought out. 15-point question, and let's get physical. Some doctors say there are health benefits if you drink this kind of water that typically has a pH of 10 or 11, making it very what?
We're gonna take a second to talk about this. Anastasia, I'm thinking acidic because of the pH level.
Yeah, a high pH makes it acidic, so we're going to go with acidic.
Actually, guys, it's the reverse. Acidity pHs are low, 0 to 7, and then once you get above 7 to 14, that's when it turns basic or alkaline. Good try. 25-point question. Get them this time. Let's get physical. When atoms of light elements are squeezed under enough pressure for their nuclei to undergo fusion, this blessed celestial event occurs, as it did in the movies, between Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper.
We're gonna. Oh, I believe a star is born.
You got that right. A star was born, and you are a star too. Nicely done. 25 points. We go to science potpourri. 5 points. One promising source for an antibody to fight the coronavirus has been found in, of all places, one of these South American pack animals renowned for its soft fur and its tendency to spit?
A llama.
It is a llama, indeed. They can be nice, but don't get on their wrong side. Potpourri for 15 points. As global warming has caused this kind of soil to melt across northern Canada and Russia, the remains of fossilized birds and mammals and insects are being revealed.
We're
Gonna take a second to discuss.
I want to say, I really want to say clay, but I'm not.
What
do you
kind
guys
of soil? Oliver, what do you think?
I'm thinking clay because clay can melt, you know?
Okay, we're gonna go with clay.
Actually, it's something called permafrost. And because the earth is warming, it is melting, and some of these fossils are being unearthed that no one ever knew were there. Nice try. Here's your 25-point question in science potpourri. While a mho, M-H-O, is a unit of electrical conductance, the Mohs scale, M-O-H, measures this of minerals.
I'm gonna take a moment to discuss.
I don't. I'm gonna say like, what are we thinking? I'm thinking like measures what of minerals. So what can be measured of minerals? Like
Value?
I want to say value or what they're made of. So what are we going with? I think that's what it might be.
All right, the correct answer, good try. It's the hardness scale, how hard it is. Like on the Mohs scale, talc, like in talcum powder, is the softest and diamond is the hardest. All right, guys, I've got 3 more questions for you. These are in Dateline. Here's your 5-point question. Meteorologists think that based on the damage this caused, it was likely an EF2, a rating Dorothy and Toto might have thought too low.
We're going to take a minute to discuss.
I think it's a tornado.
Yeah, tornado.
I believe so. Oh, yeah.
We're going to go with a tornado.
That's right. They weren't in Kansas anymore. Tornado it is. Here's your 15-point question. It's a multiple choice. Joseph Lister, L-I-S-T-E-R, thankfully introduced which of the following to keep people from dying of infections during surgery? Did he introduce anabolics, analgesics, or antiseptics?
We're going to take a minute to discuss this. What do you guys think? I'm thinking antiseptics.
Me too.
Okay. Antiseptics.
Good choice. Antiseptics it is. Last question for you in the game is a visual question. For 25 points in Dateline Science, we're going to show you 2 brothers, Scott and Mark Kelly. They are identical twins. Both are astronauts. Scott, on the left, spent a whole year in space while his brother Mark stayed down here on Earth. They were comparing in an experiment what the differences would be between the two. It was a good experiment generally because they controlled most of the variables. The only problem with an experiment like that was it was too small to make any sweeping conclusions because what was, in this case, too small?
We're going to take a moment to discuss.
I believe it was the genetic differences because if you're an identical twin, you have almost identical DNA. You're controlling all the variables. There's no genetic differences to test what would be different. So I believe that's going to be the answer. What do you all think?
I think that might be right.
So genetical differences?
I believe so.
Okay, genetical differences.
That was a good try, gentlemen. You know, if you do a science fair experiment, you know that you can't just have one test and one control. You have to have lots of plants to compare. So in this case, even though it was a very valid experiment, the sample size was just too small. And that brings Bond Mill to the end of the round. They have 205 points. We'll be back with Whitehall's final round in just a moment. Welcome back, everyone. All right, this is it, the last hurrah. We've got 9 more questions for the team from Whitehall. Will they do it?
Will they win a second championship, or will Bonneville win the first championship ever in our 34-year history for them? All right, gentlemen, if you're ready, let's go to your Let's Get Physical questions. Let's get physical for 5 points. Robert Downey Jr. might have played him in the movies, but Baltimore Oriole Cal Ripken was also one of these men, named for element number 26, the most abundant on Earth by mass.
Iron Man.
Iron Man it is. That's it. Good. For 15 points, Marie Curie used an electroscope to detect this kind of material, the same kind revealed by a Geiger counter.
Is it radium?
She did find two. She found two more elements for the periodic table. It was polonium and radium. So
Want to do polonium?
she also did work with radiation. So
Let's try polonium, radium.
You sure? Radium or polonium?
All right, I want to hear from Grant. Grant, I want you to give me your final answer.
Polonium.
The correct answer is radiation. Radiation. Close. It was bandied about. Yes, Estrardo, you came up with some really valid points there. We continue, gentlemen, for 25 points, and let's get physical. When the moon is closest to the Earth in its orbit, its position is described by what P initialed word?
phase.
Yeah, he's right. It's phase.
Phase.
Not phase, no. The correct, when it's farthest in its orbit, it's known as the apogee, A-P-O-G-E-E. When it is the closest, it is perigee, P-E-R-I-G-E-E, perigee. Good try. We move on to science potpourri for 5 points. The Centers for Disease Control says, whether it's picking, licking, biting, or rubbing, to keep coronavirus away, just don't touch your what?
No.
Face.
Face.
Face is correct, yes, face is correct. For 15 points in potpourri, spider lovers are arachnophiles. Spider haters are these similar sounding people.
Arachnophobias? No, arachnophobics?
Yeah,
People take that, arachnophobics or arachnophobes. Nicely done. For 25 points in potpourri, there's a visual question for you, gentlemen. Blue, the Spix parrot in the movie Rio, warmed everybody's heart. But in real life, the Spix's parrots are extinct in the wild and live only in aviaries and zoos, an existence known as being in what C initialed condition?
Captivity.
Captivity, perfect, good. Dateline science for 5 points. Doctors think diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's could be cured if we could get rid of our old, poorly functioning cells that clog up our bodies. They call them these kinds of cells because they are undead.
Zombie.
zombified.
They're zombie cells, that's right. For 15 points, multiple choice. Charles Darwin got evolution right, but his contemporary Jean Lamarck got it all wrong, because he said giraffes could pass along stretched necks to the next generation, and that athletes with big muscles could pass that along to their progeny. Those kinds of characteristics, developed muscles and longer necks, are characteristics known by which of the following A-initialed names? Acquired, adopted, or adapted?
Adapted.
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 Actually, it's the first one. Those are acquired characteristics. You acquire them during life, but you can't pass that along. That doesn't go in the genes. And your last question for 25 points. The periodic table had only 63 elements on it when this man first designed it.
Dmitri Mendeleev.
Mendeleev is absolutely right. And that is the end of the round for our team from Whitehall. Takes them to 200 points. We'll be right back with a wrap-up. We'll check that score and we'll tell you who this year's champion is. Don't go away. Welcome back, everyone. What a championship game it was, and it was a championship game. You just witnessed what science is all about in the elementary school. You saw the exchanging ideas, and you can see how wonderfully these teams worked together, how bright they were, and we are so proud of all of them.
Our final tally today is Whitehall 200, Bond Mill 205. Bond Mill, congratulations, first ever championship. I know how excited you guys are. Miss Galladay is here, the principal, and I know Coach Tracy Lally is so very happy. She's going to go into retirement with a big smile on her face. Let's have a nice round of applause for that team from Bond Mill. Everybody can clap. Everybody, and I know we've got our alternates out there, Brandon and Bilal, both out there. And that Whitehall team, they came ever so close to repeating as county champs. They were just there in 2018. Let's have a round of applause for the Whitehall team as well. And their vice principal is here, Mr. Kuva. Miss Chilcott is here, the sponsor, Miss Dawn Wine, the wonderful coach of this team, and all of the players. Stone is here, Charlotte, the two alternates in addition to Estuardo and Jaden and Grant. And I hope you all enjoyed being here today. We certainly couldn't have asked for a better end of the season, and everybody should hold his and her head very high after what you did here today. And I just have to say, it took a lot of courage to do this. We've never done it before. There you are by yourselves in your homes. You don't have your buddies next door, but you made lemonades out of lemons here today. And that's what life is about. It's not about knowing photosynthesis. That helps. But knowing how to work together and to adapt and to make people proud because of the work you've done. And boy, you put in that work. And this couldn't have happened today without the help of our judges, Janine Dorothy and Verlita Taylor. And behind the scenes, my right-hand man, my buddy, my brother for the past 34 years, Chuck Wolf, did everything to make this look good and sound good. I depend on him for everything. And Catherine Francoeur, the wonderful media specialist down here, she is the master of Zoom. Without her, this wouldn't have happened here either. Kat, thanks for everything you did. And all of you have a great and a safe summer, and I hope we'll be back in the fall. And we do have medals for you. We're going to get those gold medals to Bond Mill, those silver medals to Whitehall. If it's by FedEx or courier, if I have to drive them there myself, I'm going to get them to you because you deserve them. Thank you all for everything. And now could you all wave? Could you all wave as we say goodbye?